Gunda's Games, haha! So I was talking with some of you the other day in our LOL chat room. You should come join us sometime, by the way. The room is Potato Land on the North American server. We play games, talk, and just generally have a good time. This time, though, we were talking about champions and who particularly was in need of a rework. The answer that came to mind immediately for me was Sion, and yet there were a number of you who disagreed. There's just so much wrong with this champion that I decided I should just make a video about it. Why not? Sion is in need of a complete overhaul, and if you didn't already agree, it's time to learn why. First of all, since I said complete overhaul, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention his visuals and voiceover. I mean, look at him! He's almost as ugly as Soraka before her update. He's blocky and has low resolution, his body clips through his loincloth frequently, and his fists are just blobs on the ends of his arms. I don't think the model has any joints below the elbow. And his voiceover? Nothing but puns about being dead and Schwarzenegger references, all in a terrible Austrian accent. In no way does he read as the brutal human battering ram raised from the dead that his lore would suggest he is. Much like how I feel about Vladimir, the jokes get old, it pulls you out of the intended experience, and replaces one of the best places to express the character's personality with a poor attempt at humor. But enough about Arnold McBonehead's bad jokes, let's get to the meat of the problem, his kit. His passive is frankly the biggest single offender to me, and I'm willing to bet most of you don't even know what it does. Feel No Pain says he has a 40% chance of ignoring 30, 40, or 50 damage from any basic attack that hits him, depending on his level. Let me take you on a little trip for this one. Back before 2012, there was a mechanic in the game called Dodge. Basically the opposite of critical strike chance, Dodge gave you the random opportunity to avoid damage from basic attacks entirely. There were runes for it, there was a mastery for it. Some champions even had it innately. Sivir's old passive, for example, gave her an innate dodge chance. Riot decided that this was bad for the game. Randomly ignoring damage wasn't good for competitive play, wasn't interesting, and wasn't very easy to display visually. While critically striking is equally random, it's exciting and makes you feel powerful when you get one. It has a random chance of making you feel extra awesome, where dodge just made you frustrated because you should have killed that guy and it didn't happen. The only remnant of dodge itself is Jax's Counter-Strike, which is not random at all, timed, and perfectly visible at all times. Yet here, we have what amounts to an awful version of dodge. More like a half dodge, or by the time you get to the late game, maybe a quarter dodge? You removed this mechanic 3 years ago, Riot. Why is it still here? It's random and inflates his survivability in ways that players can't usefully calculate. A flat damage reduction rate would be so much better than this. Sion's Q is Cryptic Gaze, a point-and-click single-target stun that's better than Tarek's the vast majority of the time. We'll talk about most of its issues later, but right now I just want to say that it doesn't really fit thematically. He's supposed to be a terrifying monster of a zombie. He should be making them flee in fear, not sit stunned. I realize this is necessary for his current kit to function in this high mobility environment, but we can do better. Furthermore, there's no counterplay to it. Vegir's stun, you can dodge or dance around in the cage. Ryza's rune prison, you can at least shoot back. And Tarek's, you can like run farther away so you take less damage, but this? Heck no man, you're stunned and you're always taking tons of damage. Death's Caress I'll similarly talk about later, but I actually like this one on him. A shield is a good way to increase his survivability, and there's plenty of counterplay built in that you can cancel the damage by beating your way through the shield. Impossible to do if you're stunned for the duration, but we'll come back to that. Enrage is probably his coolest ability. It gets extra damage at the cost of health with every attack, and killing things gives you bonus health permanently. It's a good way to show off how menacing and unstoppable he's supposed to be, and scaling health into infinity is fun. The problem is that the cost has no meaning at all. Have you bought a Vampiric Scepter? Well, congratulations! You never have to turn this off ever. Enjoy your free BF sword. It has a little bit of challenge going for it before you buy items, but beyond that there's nothing to it. And this is a problem endemic to the character. While that cost is too low, his other costs are crazy high. 100 mana per spell pretty much across the board, with a starting mana pool of only 200. Fizz has the same mana scaling, and half his spells are dirt cheap by comparison. I realize this is kind of necessary to gate his current skill set and is symptomatic of old style design, but it just shows how much he really needs attention. His ult is just nonsense. Talk about invisible power. For 20 seconds, nearly twice as long as most self-buffs like this, Cannibalism gives him up to 7,000 gold worth of stats in lifesteal and attack speed, and heals everyone around him when he hits things. Powerful, yes, but ultimately very boring. There's no reason not to activate it when you're fighting, particularly cause no fight ever lasts that long. Where every other champion that has an ultimate does something visually exciting and unique with their R button, this one just, well, he hits you faster and doesn't die. It's like Master Yi's Highlander, but not as cool. And finally, we can get to the biggest overall problem and the one Riot's blamed for the delay of his update, his fractured playstyle. Thanks to the crazy AP scaling on his Q and W, Sion can be played as either an ability power burst mage that's hard to kill, or an attack damage fighter that's hard to kill, and you're never sure which you're up against until you see his items. Off builds are interesting and often funny, but this is just his kit not working together. The 90% scaling on Q and W mean you can level those two completely ignoring his other skills and still be entirely effective. Q to stun, walk up, explode your shield, and walking away until those are back off cooldown, proccing your Lich Bane if you have it. And the other way, we'll just walk in, tank all the damage, and hit like a truck. There's nothing interesting to his kit. There's very little in the way of counterplay, no challenge for him to work around. The only challenge, if any, is his lack of mobility, and that's just a thing they didn't give out like candy when they made him. Riot has been shuffling their feet on this one for years now, supposedly unsure whether they wanted him to play as a Burst Necromancer or Bruiser Behemoth. This hasn't stopped them from reworking many other champions who strayed from their original concept, Gragas and Master Yi to name a few, and you've got a Necromancer already. His name is Karthus! Seriously, he hasn't even been touched in almost 3 years now except for global group updates. Sion is a broken, seriously flawed design failure. Get on this already and fix him, Riot. So, thanks for watching everyone. If you've enjoyed this little rant, please let me know by hitting the like button. I hope you learned something from all my yammering. Subscribe for future stuff like guides, gameplay, and general silliness like this. Follow me on Twitch for streams and Twitter and Facebook to see what else is going on. Till next time, I've been Gin, and you've been watching me talk about a video game.